Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Selling Sunset. We'll see how many episodes we'll be doing here. I'm not sure if I'm doing 1 or 2 or 3 or what I'm doing, but we'll go through it as we go. All right, let's get into it. Episode 4. So we have a team meeting, starting off strong. We talk some real estate first, who cares? But then Jason says, so we talked to Nicole, and we asked her to leave the brokerage. She's a good agent, but it had to happen because you can't be talking about dead parents. It's like, I don't want there to be happiness about this, but everyone's like, this is a little hard to not be happy about this. This is wonderful news for the agents, for us, the viewers. This is great. But then we see Bree at a co-listing. Note to self and everyone else. When I have kids, I should have a lockbox for toys. Good to know. Because apparently her son went into her drawer with her toys and she's like, I don't even know he was in my drawer. So, with this guy that she's showing the house to is, he loves to do affirmations, and he's like a football player or something. I don't freaking know. But anyways, he likes to do affirmations. Good for him. Let's move on. We have Chelsea at her listing with the panic room, and Emma shows up during the showing, just randomly. That can't be professional. It can't be professional to have like one of your agents just showing up and being like, hi, hey, yeah, hi, I'm here. Oh, I'll come down there. Okay. You know what I mean? But Emma just got back from Miami, we hear, where she just met up with an old flame. This old flame, his name is Blake. He's 27. He is a real estate heir, so he doesn't work probably. His dad created microwavable popcorn. Okay, cool. Thank you for your service. But Emma has not told Chriselle. Chriselle apparently does not like Blake. So, yeah, that's a problem when it's your best friend, apparently. But anyways, more on that later. We have Chriselle showing a house to JoJo. I really don't care. Let's move on. We have Mary and Bree. They're going horseback riding. Bree's actually horse shopping for Legendary. She actually used to have a horse herself when she was a kid, so she thinks it's a really good thing to, well, I mean, I feel like you can do that with any pet, but that's the point. With a horse, gives you good responsibility and all of that. So she's doing that. And here comes Legendary, and I have to say, he is the cutest. He's so cute. Mary tells Bree that Nicole has been fired, and Bree is pleasantly surprised that finally Jason did something. And she's like, I think there's a few more people in the office he can get rid of. Anyway, we then have Chriselle, Chelsea, and Emma, and she told Chriselle about Blake. So that cat's out of the bag. So now he's actually coming in to make a good impression on Chriselle. They're gonna, he's gonna come for some drinks. So he's here, and he doesn't quite look like the pictures we saw of him. He looked really cute, but he doesn't quite look like the type of guy that I would picture her being with. It doesn't quite compute in my brain, but it is what it is, I guess. He says, I have never had a veg or a fruit in my life, so your insides are dying. Like, what do you mean you've never had a vegetable or you never had a fruit? Like, why not? And she says, well, you eat my empanadas. And he's like, okay, maybe I have had a vegetable. What? He's like, I also don't like guacamole, which, sorry, everybody, if this is going to be polarizing. I also don't like guacamole. I don't like avocados. So, whatever. But, he's like, this is weird because I'm like, am I understanding is guacamole just guacamole, or can you have like different types of guacamole? Kind of like with peanut butter, you can have crunchy or smooth, or you know what I mean? Is guac just guac? Like I'm trying to understand here because he says, um, I mean when it's mashed, not normal, because I actually like it normal. What does that mean? Does he mean an avocado? Or does he mean guacamole, or does he mean different types of guacamole? Like, I'm very confused. But he says I don't deserve Emma. Like he knows that straight up he doesn't deserve her. But she's my best friend. And I thought that's sweet. Then he says very quietly to her, really, I love you, Emma. And Chelsea's like, whoa, what? But then he leaves at this point, and Emma's like, so do we have like half approval? Like, what's going on? Where we at? And Chriselle's like, no. My question is, what does Chriselle not like about him? Because I feel like we're not quite getting that full picture. Like, we hear her saying he's not mature. We hear her saying, he, whatever. Like, we hear her saying these things, but maturity is one thing. How he treats her is another. How he is as a human is another. So, what is really going on that Chriselle doesn't like him? But she says, like, you don't want to be a mother to him, which I totally understand. She's like, I think you need to date around, get to know people. Like, I don't think he's your person. But I also think that is not her place to say. Because here's the thing. I think there were probably people who thought, Jason wasn't her person, or G wasn't her person. But she's still going to do what she wants to do. If she wants to be with Jason, she was going to be with Jason. If she wanted to be with G, she was going to be with G. So you can't, and here's the thing, G and her are great. I understand now. But I wasn't even about that either. I'm like, this is weird. I wasn't about Jason either until I saw them, and I'm like, okay, I get it to some extent. But with G, it's like, okay, maybe, yes, they are more mature, but they're also like way younger than her. So wouldn't people argue that maybe, G is not mature enough for Chriselle? You know what I mean? I'm just spitballing here. I'm not saying that's the case, but you have to let people go through their own journey with their own relationships. Let her figure it out on her own. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let her figure it out. But the fact that they keep coming back to each other, there's something there that no one else is seeing. Let her figure it out. You can't tell her what to do. Anyways, then we get some footage of the wildfires in the South Palisades, and the the imagery of that doesn't fail to hurt. And again, this is me coming out as a complete outsider who didn't experience this firsthand. But it's so daunting. It's just the only thing I can say is devastating and sad and horrible. And this, yeah, it's really tough. So that is why we ended that episode off with. So that's the end of episode 4. Let's jump into episode 5. So we see videos from all of the agents kind of, putting out there the fact that they want to help anyone who needs the help, and the agency, the brokerage, is going to help with any way that they can help. We hear that clients of theirs have lost their homes. They offered to help anyone who needed a place to stay after the tragedy, which I think is absolutely incredible. We see Marie, who was Jason's former assistant. She lost her home. Her business is gone because she worked out of her home. Her daughter's school is gone. The bank where all of her money was in a safe deposit box, anything that she potentially would have had even in that safe deposit box, not just money, is gone because the bank burned down. people's entire lives, not just their homes, but potentially their entire lives just gone because of this tragedy, this insane tragedy. And try not to cry. I just, I can't imagine. Um, your world just literally going up in flames. Um, it's really, really horrible. We then see Emma talking to Blake. She was waiting for Chriselle, and Chriselle does get there, and apparently Blake doesn't want her to work. She just kind of says, he doesn't have to work himself, so he doesn't really want me to work. But she's obviously not going to stop working. She's a hustler. She has her empanada business. She has her real estate. She's a hustler, and she says, "I'm going to continue being a hustler." The issue, though, now because she said this, and probably not to make this a big deal. Unfortunately, though, when you have a friend here who doesn't like him, anything you say that's negative is going to be perceived as the end of the world. Rochelle's pissed. And she's like, "How dare you tell someone not to work?" And she's like, taking this to an extreme of like, "Oh, he's just that typical, like, misogynistic man who doesn't want his woman to work. You want to be barefoot and pregnant and that kind of thing," which I don't think that's what he's saying. I don't know Blake very well, but I think in Blake's defense, I don't think it's that he wants to control her or he doesn't want her working or he doesn't value what she's done for herself. I think he's just a brat, not even a brat. He is a child of the man who created microwavable popcorn, and he's living life. And I think he just wants to spend time with her. I think he wants to have unlimited time with her. And that's what he's thinking of. I don't think it's malicious, but Chriselle is making it malicious. Um, Emma's like, I think she's kind of blowing this out of proportion, which I agree. And Chriselle is like, this is how it starts. He's probably trying to isolate you. He's probably trying to control you. No, honey. No, honey. You're really blowing this out of proportion. Like, you need to calm down. You really do. There's nothing saying that that's what he's trying to do. I don't know this man, but from what we've seen, I don't get that vibe from him. I don't think he's trying to isolate her. I don't think he's abusive. I don't think he's trying to control her. I think he's just a man who's never had to work a day in his life because his daddy invented a really great invention of microwavable popcorn, and he just never had to work for money. Everything's been handed to him. So why can't the girlfriend he has just have it all? I mean, it's kind of like Christian Grey, although he worked for his money. It's kind of like that. He's kind of like, but I mean, that's already a bad example because he's definitely trying to control her. Never mind. But yeah, I just don't see what she's seeing. Anyway, in the next scene, we see that the O group is throwing a donation fund. The entire O group is here, including Malibu, right? Or was it OC, not Malibu. I'm fine. Um, Malibu, I'm fine. But yeah, everyone from the OC group. And Chelsea comes, and when Jason kind of says to her, "Oh, go help the girls," she's like, "What are they doing?" I don't know. They're doing what they're doing. Well, they look like they're doing fine. They don't need my help. Bitch, you are here to help because this is a fund. People are trying to help the people who have suffered from these wildfires. Put your shit aside and get in there and help. What's wrong with you? Why are you here then? Anyway, and Heather is here. And I think this is the only time we'll see her, but yes, Heather is here. Anyway. In the next scene, we see Emma struggling with the hedges. So no, she doesn't particularly like the hedges. And we actually find out here that Emma has 10 pets and she names it all with the ease. She apparently has a new dog now that Blake got for her. But she just names off these 10, and most of them are cats, but she just names off all of these pets with ease. That's wow. Hi, everyone. So, I have a new product for you to take part in. This is for J Armor wallets. Now, you can get these wallets for a pretty good price. Partially, it seems at this point, partially American made, but they're going to be planning to be completely American made by the year 2027. The fun part is that you can actually see what new wallet styles are going to be coming in 2026. So a little bit about the company. The company was founded by Jake Hernandez, who is also a part of the U.S. Air Force veteran, or he is a U.S. Air Force veteran. So with his business, he is also supporting charities like anti-child labor organizations, veteran support programs, and efforts to rebuild American manufacturing. So this is clearly something that is very important to him, and honestly, really important to me as well. And for going to the link in the show notes, which I will say what that link is in a minute, but going to the link in the show notes not only helps support this podcast, but is also helping to support J Armor as well as helping support the charities that he finds near and dear to him. So if you go to the show notes and you find that link, the link is jarmorwallets.com/reality times 2. So that is j-armorwallets.com/reality So I hope you go on and support not only me, but as well as this company. Now, that's enough of me. Let's go back to the episode. So in the next scene, we see Emma also struggling with those hedges. It's a whole character. Emma has 10 pets. 10. A lot of pets. She names them all with ease. And we then see Bree and Emma talking, which is like the first time appears that they've really talked since the whole Chelsea situation. And they're kind of just talking about their experiences of dealing with the fires. But then Jason says, "So I just got a video of Mary and Romaine getting robbed." And we see it. He said, like, basically these guys waited for them to leave. And as soon as they did, we see them jumping over the gate, and we see the footage of everything just ransacked. It's insane. We kind of hear like a video of Mary, like I think maybe she posted to her socials, basically saying like they got everything. Her family heirlooms are gone. Her mother's jewelry is gone. Her office is trash. Closets are trash. They got clothes. It kind of feels like the bling ring in a sense. Like uh, this is just so violating. Like listen, robbers, I get the rich and you think you're not hurting them, but you're violating. This is violating. It's this is their home. And you are just, wow. It's unreal. But that's where we end episode 5. So I am going to take a quick break here, and then we will jump back in with episode 6. Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed. So you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/reality t2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/reality t2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. And I'm back. So let's do episode 6, which will be the final episode of this episode. So Chelsea and Emma are at a restaurant, and Chelsea asks Emma, how are things with Blake? And she says it's good when he's behaving. Okay, they have been dating for a year, so this has been going on for a bit. And then she says Rochelle is still not being very supportive about Blake, which, we'll get to that. Then Rochelle, she's here, she's, to partake. And they start talking about G, and G apparently has written a song inspired by Emma. And she kind of like, what are the lyrics? What are the lyrics? And she's kind of going through the lyrics in her mind, and she's like, oh yeah, it's basically something around the fact about, you know, she's too good for you or something like that. Basically saying Emma is too good for Blake. And the whole time that Rochelle is trying to remember these lyrics, it- Emma is visibly pissed. Like, she is over it, and she is tired of this. We'll get to my thoughts on this in a second. Rochelle says, why do you like him? Like, I'm just trying to understand, like, why you like him, because I don't get it. And she says, you know, she kind of says some things, and you can tell, like, she's struggling. And I can also understand, maybe from Rochelle's point of view, it looks like she's struggling to come up with things. But I don't even know if that's it. Because I think it feels more to me that Emma is probably thinking in her mind, I have been asked this question before. I have said the things that I can say. Nothing I say matters. Nothing I say is going to change what she's going to say. So what is the point of me saying more? You know, I like, to me, it feels like she's just going to use more ammo against me. And she says something very pointed in a second where it's like, yeah, that's kind of how it feels. And but she says, anything Rochelle, says is so passive aggressive, which is, I guess Rochelle is trying to look out for her friend, but while she's doing that, she's making her friend uncomfortable. There's ways to go about it, and it's not in this way. Um, sh- uh, um so Rochelle basically says, he's the worst, kind of thing. And Emma feels at this point, I feel like she's making fun of me. It's not even about Blake anymore. And that's kind of how it comes across. Like, to constantly talk about Blake, to bring him up, to bring up the things you do not like about him. You're no longer coming at him. You are coming at your friend. They're basically trying to say, like, how stupid can you be to be with this guy? Or, he's so bad, why can't you see it? Like, you know what I mean? It's not giving her the space to figure out this relationship. And at the end of the day, let's be very real. You're just a friend. And yes, friends are so important. But if Emma really is serious about this person and she feels like your feelings are unwarranted and like this thing could go the distance for her or whatever the case may be, you could push your friend away. You kind of have to let her do her own thing. She's an adult. It's her relationship. Let her figure this out on her own. So Chriselle says, I'm going to be meeting the new agent. We'll get on to who that new agent is in a little bit. Emma brings up Mary getting robbed, and Chelsea says, I feel for her. She's like, yeah, I should maybe reach out to her. Like she's saying that. And Chriselle, I think it was Chriselle says, oh yeah, like, you don't have beef with anyone in the office. Sorry, what? What? Because Chelsea says, no, like, I don't have any beef with anybody in the office. What? Ma'am, you have beef with Bree for things that don't concern you. You have beef with Mary because she told you your ass was hanging out. 2 seconds ago, you literally just snuffed her when you were around her. You didn't even say hi to her at the launch party. That was 2 seconds ago. And you're over here being like, I don't have beef with anybody. Don't play me for a fool. You know what I mean? When she said that, I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? More on that later. So we have Rochelle at a house. And while showing the house, there's just like this handcuff hanging in the closet. What do y'all do? I mean, do you? Ain't nothing wrong with being adventurous. You know what I mean? Well, what? That's a choice. But here's my thing. Even if you're adventurous in the bedroom, cool beans. Do you have to leave the handcuff hanging in the closet? That's so weird. Anyways, we then see Bree is meeting up with her sister Alexis. They do look similar, but Bree's got work done. But they're, Bree's 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 beautiful. I love her. Anyways, so she's like, I just found out. Go fuck my life. Um, my titty is ruptured, and we kind of find out a little bit about Bree as a teenager, and and the fact that like she would fight people in high school, mainly men because men are dumb, and her sister Alexis, I guess, was a little bit more of the quieter of the two, and didn't really do a lot of confrontation. Why would you need to, though, when you have Brie as your sister who will do it for you? But anyways, they kind of, at the end, just is like this nice thing about her, and her sister is like, are we good? Like, what's going on? Like, you never said anything so nice to me before. And she's like, yeah, I love you. And it's, like, I guess it's so weird for them to say that to each other. She's like, I hate you. I love you. Mean it. Anyway, we are then in the office. And Chriselle has a client coming in. Her name is Natasha. She's coming with her 10-year-old daughter, Carly, I believe her daughter's name is. And she kind of just saying, they've lost everything in the fires, so just give her a lot of love. And when they get there, they kind of talk about ultimately losing everything. And Carly says that she has no clothes. She's actually been wearing her school clothes. She has like her PE uniform and, kind of stuff like that she is able to wear because her school is okay. So she's been able to do that. She's like, the school is fine. It just lost Wi-Fi. It's fine. No big deal. Natasha, they say like they ask like, how do you know? Like, how did you know that your house was gone? And she said that they got a video. Don't know who filmed. Well, I don't know. They said they don't know who filmed it or more so how they were able to get the video. But they got a video that they said was clearly their house. And Carly kind of says that it was evident in the sense that I guess this was like a blue fence that was beside their neighbor's blue fence. The blue fence is there. Their house is gone. It's so sad. But Natasha says, yeah, obviously losing your house is hard, losing everything, all your worldly possessions is gone. But she says, but the worst part of it for her is losing the neighborhood, you know? And she's saying, the neighborhood looks like a war zone. And of course, we see like aerial shots of I don't know if it's necessarily her neighborhood, but a neighborhood. And that's exactly what it looks like. And it's just so sad. They are ultimately planning to rebuild, but in the meantime, they are there to sign a rental agreement. So at least they'll have somewhere to stay, to live, be comfortable until that's done. Oh, moving on to the next. We meet Sofia Vergara's sister cousin. Her name is Sandra. Um, she was a reporter and she kind of just started getting into the real estate. She's very green. But we see her simultaneously meeting Rochelle, Bree, and Chelsea, of course, separately. This woman is here to play because Bree says, because she said, like, who are your friends in the office? And Bree says, friends, that's such a loose term. She's like, Chelsea's had issues with me from the beginning. Oh, really? Why do you say that she's a reporter? Like, oh, she's a freaking reporter. Because she's like, really, why? And she's like, I guess she just has an issue with my relationship dynamic, like it's any of her damn business. She's had an issue with me from the very beginning because of that. And then we kind of see her then um to Chelsea. And she's like, so I hear you have issues with Bree. And Chelsea's like, no. She has no beef with anybody according to her, right? 2 seconds ago. Yeah. Um, she's like, Rochelle, are you close with Bree? No. She's She says this thing, and it's very interesting. She says, she's different on camera. Y'all different on camera because you're acting. I heard Brie is a fantastic person in person. Um, but I mean, I've also heard kind of what you see on camera is what you see in the real world too. This is her. You just don't like the fact that she is not going to take anyone's crap, which is what's so refreshing about her. But that aside, Sandra's here to stir the pot, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's not going to be the last. Let's move on to the next scene, as I think this is the last scene of this episode. So we're with Mary, and we see her and Romaine talking about the robbery, and kind of just saying they cut the power and just did their thing. And she mentions that her neighbor ended up finding Thor, which is her dog, by the way, in case no one knows that, just shaking in the street. And again, if you don't watch the show, which what are you doing with your life? But if you don't watch the show, he's this cute little pup. Like he's so tiny. And it's clear that either these robbers left the dog at the door open so he could get out, or they just let the dog loose. Didn't give a shit. Because aren't also like, I mean, there's coyotes everywhere you go, but like, I feel like it's definitely pretty prevalent in in that part of California. So, well, I think in any part of California, but just leaving this dog out there to be potentially eaten by another animal or get lost. Like, it's what if no one found Thor? You know, after she just lost her dog in the last season, like that's anyway. But we then see her and Romaine fighting about like rebuilding after the fires too, and he's saying, "Oh, you're probably gonna start rebuilding really quickly," and she's like, "No, they're probably not going to be because they need to do the fire cleanup. That takes time." Um, I mean, I can't imagine the depths of what's to come with the cleanup after the fires, but I mean, I deal with in my line of work, because I am, again, in case no one remembers, I am a legal assistant slash law clerk. And we sometimes deal with um, what's called subrogation files within insurance companies. And it's basically when the insured is plaintiff for any number of reasons. We deal with water loss, fire loss, kind of the main things that you'll see. But the cleanup after a fire, especially, is, and depending on the enormity of that fire, it's time consuming. And it is going to be time consuming to rebuild. And it's a long process. So I see what Mary is saying. She's talking about the entirety of the process of rebuilding, not just the actual rebuilding, um, with the cleanup, getting permits and everything. Where Romaine is only thinking about the actual building aspect of things. And yeah, but anyways, they're getting on each other's nerves about that. He is like, I hate it when you don't like believe me in what I say because like you know real estate, I know construction and all of this. And she's like, I hate when you do that. It's gonna be okay, y'all. You have bigger fish to fry right now. But then Bree comes to save the day before they start really getting into it. And Mary's like, "Do you want to go see what's left?" So they go up there. So they go up, and she shows her what's left, and she's like, they got into her safe, and she's like, I've worked 44 years for what I have, and it'll just be gone. And Bree says, like, how did I get into the safe? And Mary says, with the key that no one knows about. So I mean, the I'm going to assume they hit this key off pretty well. So these people got really fucking comfortable in their house while stealing their shit, and in order to find a key to get into the safe. Now here's the thing. It looks like it's like a glass safe, or maybe not quite, but maybe it's stronger than that. Um but they would have found a way, whether with or without the key, they would have found a way into that safe if they really wanted to get into it. Like, and it's open. It's like an open safe, and they probably saw shit in there. It's like, oh, I want that. So yeah, it's insane. She says they took jewelry that was also her ex-husband's, who I completely forgot about this, but he passed away. So these are things that obviously mean a lot to her, and she gets really emotional talking about that. She also says that she hasn't even told her mom that the jewelry that was given to her by her mother is gone. She's like, it's gonna break her heart. Then the doorbell starts ringing, and they're like, what the hell is that? So Romaine goes and he gets the door, and they're flowers. And Mary's like, oh, that's so sweet. I wonder who sent these. And I'm honestly thinking it's like Jason or something who sent her flowers following this situation that she's in. But then Mary sees who sent the flowers, and she doesn't say anything, but she's like, what the hell? Like, she's like, what is this? She's pissed. She walks out of the room and she's like, I'm not doing this. Like, what the hell? And we find out on the card it says whatever, and it's from Chelsea. And Mary starts accusing the producers for knowing about the fact that Chelsea was going to be sending these flowers. And producers say, no, it has nothing to do with us. It's directly from her. She wanted to send these. And Mary says, yeah, okay. And they just happen to be here when you guys are here. Her biggest issue is that not so much that Chelsea is reaching out, although she has an issue with how she's reaching out, but that she's doing it on camera. I'll get to my thoughts on that in a second. She says, I'm done filming. I'm done. She says she could have texted me. She knows my number. And Bree is like, she drags Mary all this time about something that, you know, anyone would have said, hey, Chelsea, your ass is hanging out. But because it's Mary, you have a problem. And through all of that, though, you bring her fucking flowers. And she's like, look, throw these things out because it probably has bad energy anyways. Plus, they're ugly. And that's the end of episode 6. So basically, where I stand with all of this, it's like we see that Chelsea said that she wanted to reach out to Mary. I personally understand what Mary is saying here. If you actually give a shit about the fact that my house was robbed, and despite the fact that, yes, we have had some issues, although you just said 2, 3 minutes ago that there's no beef with anyone in the office, but I digress. Um, so yeah, the fact that you say all of that, you could have shot me a text and said, hey, Mary, I heard what happened. I hope you're okay. I'm so sorry for what you're going through right now. No, I'm here if you need to talk. Something simple. And maybe you could have followed it up with flowers after that, but you could have started by opening up the dialogue. You know what I mean? And it's like when you see, although I do think the issues between Emma, Rochelle, and Brie is ridiculous. Even Emma and Brie were able to sit by each other and shoot the shit, if you want to call it that, about what they've experienced with these wildfires. And were able to do so civilly. And yes, they were on camera, but they didn't have to talk to each other. They didn't have to do that. And they did though. And that's something. And y'all don't need to be friends. You don't need to do any of that. But it's like, I feel like in Chelsea's time of need, Mary would have reached out to her with the divorce, with everything she's gone through, to say, listen, I know me and you are on the same page right now, but know that I'm here if you need to talk. Mary would have done that. And seriously, at this launch party, Mary kind of had that look of, okay, we're not friends, but I can at least say hi to her. And Chelsea's the one that snubbed her. And she's like, okay. You know what I mean? So you don't get to do that. And you don't, it says a lot when you are able to, it kind of brings us, I want to say this, and I'm saying this on the day that it's not Seeking Survive, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has started. But it's kind of like the situation with, although she blew it out of proportion, but with Taylor freaking Paul. Taylor freaking Paul. I need to get that back in my life. With Taylor, her saying, no one said anything to me when I was on this CMAs, and no one said anything to me about it. And, or no one said anything to me on social media. Everyone said it to me but I just want to say that's for Taylor. That's important. The importance of doing shit in front of the camera or on social media or whatever, that's important to her. But she was also still getting that, the other side of things. What validated her in the moment, it was the public side of things. For Mary, it's the opposite. She needs to see the private. She's like, that makes you a little bit more human. It's not just about the cameras. And I understand her. You need to do that. Do the thing that validates the person in the moment is basically what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, I totally understand Mary being upset. I totally understand Mary being like to the production and being like, did you know? Why are you putting me in this situation? Why, like, no. I totally get her saying I'm not filming anymore. I get it. I get her. Um, anyways, that is it, y'all. That is it for this episode. That is it for my episode. So we still have 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then there's a reunion. So we will be finishing this up. And of course, I do want to get to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'll try to sprinkle that in. I will say, because again, for people who are listening to this on the main feed, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going on to the main feed right off the bat. It's not going to be a week before or anything like it'll be on Patreon or anything, but ad free will be on Patreon. So I will still be doing that. So that will be available on Patreon for everybody. But yeah, maybe if I do early access, it might be only a day or two. But I think we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, that is basically it, y'all. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.